We've got the all-new Mazda CX-5.
A lot of interest in this one. Let's get at it. Sounds familiar, Andrea.
It does. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, the power is sufficient. This is a non-turbo.
Yeah, I have more thoughts on that in just a moment. Let's let everybody in on the secret. What is under the hood of this?
A 2.5-liter four-cylinder with a 6-speed automatic transmission, 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque, standard all-wheel drive. Now, a hybrid is coming, but not until 2027. We've got a question coming up halfway through the show and our hot topic of viewers asking about that.
All right, let's get into now. This is a brand new CX-5. What are the key standard features?
The base trim comes with a 10.25-inch driver display, a 12.9-inch touchscreen with Google built in, wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, an 8-speaker audio system, cloth upholstery, heated front seats, 8-way manual driver seat, 6-way manual passenger seat with height adjustment, front and rear parking sensors. In the US, heated front seats are not standard.
So it's nice to get this back, Andrew, because when we go on these launch events, we have to drive the car for a short period of time, do all the shooting outside, inside, driving by. To actually live with this day after day is a nice, refreshing change. How do you like this now that you've had it for a week?
I like it. You know, for city driving, like I said off the top, the power is totally fine. When you get on the highway and the passing power, look, it's okay. Under harder acceleration, the cabin gets a little bit louder, which is exactly what you would expect from this class of vehicle. I do find the outgoing model, Zach, a little bit more engaging to drive because this is bigger.
So the engine we referenced at the beginning is carried forward from the old car. It's the 2.5-liter, same as last time, same transmission, but the vehicle is bigger overall. It's 4.5 inches bigger, longer, I should say. And they did, you know what, Andrea said it when we first drove it, and I'm still here. I've still got the same opinion.
Okay.
They kind of more North Americanized it.
Yeah.
The car is bigger. It's got a bigger back seat. The suspension is just a little bit softer. The steering is just a little bit lighter. They made it more mass appeal. People are going to talk about the screen, and we are as well in a moment. People are going to criticize that. I guarantee you they're going to sell more of these.
They're going to sell more of these for sure because this appeals to more people. I don't know how many people would try a CX-5 and some absolutely loved it because it was fun to drive, dynamic. But they said others would say, "Oh, the suspension is too firm, the steering is too light." Now you're going to get in this and you're going to say, "This is really quite comfortable."
The big one was it was too small.
Too small.
And we've seen this over and over. Tiguan, when it first came out, was a small European car they brought to North America. As soon as they made it bigger, sales went through the roof. This is the CX-5, a Japanese design, smaller SUV. Now they made it bigger. North Americans will eat this stuff up.
I would still say in this highly competitive compact SUV class that the CX-5 and the Tiguan will be your most engaging choices to choose from.
Yeah, but they got the turbo over there at the Volkswagen. All of them are turbocharged. They have a higher performance one, which they call turbo. Go figure. They got rid of that with the CX-5. But we've been told on pretty good authority that the hybrid that is coming, that Andrew referenced at the beginning in 2027, is going to be sharper and more fun to drive. We have to wait and see. By the way, that's coming up in our hot topic, so stick around for that.
Now, I know some of you are disappointed that the turbo is gone, but Mazda tells us only 10% of people actually chose the turbo. Now, those are numbers, but others have commented before.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Can I guess? That's because they overpriced it.
Or why didn't they offer the turbo on more trims, on lower trims? I bet you that number would have been higher.
Could have been. Okay, Andrew, I think it's time to do a brake test. Jam on the brakes. Ooh. Ooh. How would you rate those?
I'd give those an A, but this is a new vehicle.
Did you say A?
I did.
I want to introduce you to AAA Friction's aftermarket brake pads. This is a Canadian company, and the brake pads are engineered in Canada for harsh Canadian environments.
AAA Friction stands for anytime, any weather, anywhere. Now, most other brake manufacturers focus on heat resistance and lap performance, but the real daily challenges are moisture, cold mornings, and changing weather.
Now, AAA Frictions produces hydro-adaptive formulated pads that actively manages moisture and friction. It moves water away from the braking zone, and that maintains grip and constant pedal feel in rain, humidity swings, and wet roads.
Now, AAA Frictions also produces Hydro Adaptive Plus formulation pads. So building on the Hydro Adaptive pads with a specialized scorching and processing sequence for cold weather performance. You get an immediate cold bite on those freezing mornings. No need to wait for the pads to heat up. It manages snow, slush, frost, and micro moisture at the braking surface.
So if you need some brake pads, outfit your vehicle with AAA Frictions hydro-adaptive line of high-quality brake pads, engineered for Canada's harshest weather and driving conditions.
Install them yourself or have your trusted mechanic do the job. Go to AAAfrictions.com and use code Motormouth10 for 10% off your order today. You'll feel the difference.
What's the opposite of braking? Going fast. Andrea, we're getting up to higher speeds. Andrea mentioned this a while ago, that it makes a little bit more noise, so foot to the floor. Yeah, but you know what?
But you go.
You go. Any four-cylinder that you do that to is going to make a howl. I will say driving this car, Andrea referenced it a while ago about just driving it every day as a commuter.
Oh.
Excellently geared.
Yeah.
The gears are getting the most out of this, even though it's a 6-speed.
I know.
And it's this combination of engine transmission is, for me, one of the selling features. It's proven. It's reliable. You buy this, you know the engine transmission are going to work.
I've always liked the 6-speed automatic transmission. Another positive with this model, when you get on rougher pavement, the bumpy side, we're on the bumpy bits now, and I have to say that Mazda's done a really good job with the bumps. Like, it does absorb them quite well.
They've North Americanized it. They've made it a little bit smooth. They've taken all the edges and rounded them.
A little more comfortable.
Okay, public service announcement, Andrea. In Canada, it's pronounced Mazda.
Yeah.
In the United States, it's called Mazda. Both are wrong. It's actually Matsuda, is how the Japanese say it.
Matsuda. Matsuda.
So I don't want to hear anything about you. Why do you guys call it Mazda? Anyway, you know what I call this? Attractive. I think the last one was better looking than this one, but this one
Really?
is, yeah, I think this one, because they made it a little bit longer, it's not as cohesive as the last one, and I really don't like the wheels. It has a very thick lip on the wheel, which makes the wheels look smaller on this car. Small wheels is not a go-to.
So I like the look of this. I like the Mazda script. You know, I'm a big fan anyway of Mazda models. This red is absolutely stunning. I think that Mazda makes the best red.
By the way, do
in
we
the
have
market.
a car that has this color on it,
We
Andrea?
do have a Miata, and it's this color, and I get so many compliments on it. So it is beautiful, but you know what? It still looks like a CX-5. It's just got some tweaks, and it's a little bit longer, but you can see it just fits well into the Mazda
Hey, listen,
fleet.
like I'm going to back this up again. It doesn't matter. This thing is going to sell more because it's bigger.
You know what I don't like about this, though? I don't like the shiny cladding on the vehicle. I'm just not a big fan of it.
We've yet to see a base model, though, so stick around for that. We have to wait till we get one of those in the fleet.
Yeah. The CX-5 has up to 8.2 inches of ground clearance. It comes standard with LED headlamps, LED rear combination lamps, body color door handles, 17-inch wheels, available 19-inch wheels, a tire pressure monitoring system, and a temporary spare tire. I like that.
Available features on the exterior include LED front and rear signature lighting, power folding exterior mirrors linked with the memory seats, and black roof rails. Well, Andrew and I talked about this before we turned the cameras on. It's actually Andrew's point, and I'm going to steal it. I think existing Mazda owners are going to go, oh, wait a second, what's all this? But people who are new to the brand are going to get into this and go, wow, this is nice. It's got all the technology I kind of demand in 2026.
Yep.
It's aesthetically nice looking. They might not know the old car with more soft touch materials and more buttons and switches.
Yes, or they did get in that vehicle and said, whoa, this infotainment system is not for me. This is more for me. But as a Mazda lover, I can understand if you're coming from a current CX-5 and getting into this. This is a lot to learn. There are
Yep.
big changes in here, for sure. We're not going to disagree with that. Look, we all can agree that buttons are great. Knobs are great.
Buttons are better.
We like a volume knob.
We do.
We like all these things. Hey, guys, driver's seat memory. Remember the button on the side of the door?
You would just go boop and it boop.
It really worked well.
What do you do now, Andrea?
Now you go into the screen and you have to set your position, which is fine. You can also, on the top trim with your fob, it will recognize your seating position if you're sharing it with somebody else, but that is not available in the Mazda app yet. Hopefully they'll make that change.
But I'm driving along and Zork feels like he wants a little more fun, a little more spirited. I want sport mode. Before I would just go boop, sport mode. Now
No.
I got to go like this.
Into the screen.
One thing about this, when you're driving along and you're going over bumps and you're trying to hit something on the screen, your hand wobbles around. At the bottom, they should have a little ledge so you can rest your fingers. Other brands do that. It's very simple, very effective. Also, the tabs at the bottom of the screen, too small. They could be bigger. So those are a couple of things, but also having just a few redundant switches on the outside. You know, Volkswagen, the head of Volkswagen, he says, we're done with all that.
I know.
We're done with the capacitive touch. We're done with everything in the screen. We're going back to switches. So I think on the full cycle of life, Mazda's not there yet.
No, definitely not there yet. This, like I said, is a big change and something you've got to get used to. Now, some positives to that versus the previous model. This is way faster. The graphics are so much better. They are clear, they're crisp. And I think that when you take a look at this interior design, it's still very elegant. Yes, there is more hard plastic in here.
But we are also in the top trim.
We're in the top
We have
trim.
yet to see a base
So
model.
let's start here. Hard plastic.
Come in.
On the dash, on the passenger side, soft touch material.
Wait a second. Come in.
On the driver, hard plastic.
It's really weird. Half of the dash is soft molded plastic. The other half is hard plastic. Down here, all used to be beautifully padded in the last car.
Yeah.
All hard plastic now.
Look, Mazda really wanted to focus on price point. They wanted their vehicle to be competitive and have that top trim, for example, in Canada, start under that $50,000 price point, and also in the US it's very competitive. So they have definitely changed things, and that's why I go back to saying, as a Mazda lover, when you get in this vehicle, it's a change. You're not used to seeing this hard plastic, but as somebody from outside looking at this,
Exactly my point.
they might say, this looks pretty good.
People that are coming and looking at a RAV4, which is a bit frumpy on the inside, a little bit frumpy,
Yeah.
a lot frumpy on the inside. You're going to get in this and go, this is much more pleasing. The color scheme is better. The screen is quick. I'll take one of those.
And also there's more features in this model. Now, you've got a panoramic sunroof that's available. Now, in the US, that is standard on the top two trims. In Canada, the GT model, you can get it with it or without it. You just pay an extra $2,000. The top trim is where you get this larger 15.6-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, the 360 camera, and then the panel roof comes standard on that.
Okay, so we are driving the top trim currently, which is the GT. Typically, it's the Signature is the top trim. Oh, I'm guessing they're holding that name back for the hybrid, which is coming in 2027. So my only downside to that is, I hope they don't just make the hybrid on the most expensive one. That is not democracy at work.
But
All
you
right?
see other brands
They
like
do the same
Subaru
thing.
doing that, and Honda started that way in Canada and then started adding more trims. But it's still pretty pricey, their hybrid model.
Well, Andrea touched on some of the available features. Here's the list: a wireless phone charger, 12-speaker Bose sound system, Sirius XM, ventilated front seats, 10-way power driver's seat with lumbar support, driver's seat memory, 6-way power passenger seat, heated steering wheel, heated rear seats, power liftgate, and a hands-free power liftgate.
Good news. Every single trim gets a height adjustment on the passenger seat, whether it's manual or power operated.
Here's me getting in the back of this larger CX-5. It's 4.5 inches longer, so you definitely get more legroom and headroom compared to the previous model.
Front row legroom is 41.7 inches and second row legroom 39.9 inches, offering increased leg, knee, and headroom.
Lifting up the power liftgate on this particular trim, the cargo area is bigger as well. Andrea touched on it earlier. Underneath, a beautiful sight to behold, a temporary spare tire.
Compared to the previous model, the cargo area is almost 2 inches longer, over an inch higher, and has a lower lift-in height. Space behind the second row is 33.7 cubic feet, and overall cargo space 66.5 cubic feet.
Good question about the upcoming hybrid in our hot topic right now. Your questions.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Andrea, with your love of Mazda, are most of the controls in the screen a deal breaker for you? Have you and Zach gotten used to it over the week? Would you still consider the CX-5? I would definitely still consider the CX-5. Look, we have a Miata with the old system, and it's slow. It's fine. Like, I get in my car and I know
The reason is because the screen is that far away. Like, it's so small.
I know, it's so small. But my point is, you get used to anything. It is a learning curve. And for people coming from a CX-5 into this, you've got to take your time.
It needs a volume. Just give me a little volume right there. Because when you're driving along and you're doing this at speed, it also needs a ledge underneath for you to rest your hand on while you're interfacing with it. Listen, we've had it for a week. I've gotten to know a lot of the functions. I still need more time. It's
Sure.
going to take you a couple of weeks.
Sure.
Then it'll be second nature.
Everything is in the screen. You have to keep that in mind. So you have to like that. It's a big change.
If you want to get a question in for any of our future videos, follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea. You also see what's going on behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button.
Interior looks great and very modern looking. Is the steering wheel heated all the way through, or just the 9 and 3 areas?
Just
Go ahead.
9 and 3.
Just 9 and 3.
Half baked.
Look at, I think that's a mess.
Well,
It should be heated all the way
you've
through.
got plastic around, not a fully baked steering wheel. And listen, there's definitely criticisms that are valid of this product, and that's one of them. Hey, Andrea, I want to know, what's the hot topic this video?
Any insight on what the hybrid powertrain will be like? Same as the CX-50's hybrid powertrain?
Okay, if you're not aware, first thing, Toyota is partial owner of Mazda, okay, Mazda. And they lent Mazda the RAV4 hybrid system for the CX-50, okay? That is a plug-and-play RAV4 hybrid driving that unit. It's no longer available in Canada because of tariffs. They have told us at Mazda what about the upcoming CX-5 hybrid?
That hybrid system is going to be all Mazda. Do not expect the Toyota hybrid system that's in the CX-50. It is going to be different. They are still working on it. They are still tweaking it, and it's not quite ready for market yet. But what Mazda tells us is that it's going to take care of the power of the turbo that is now gone.
Wait and see. All right, let's get into the vital stats of the all-new CX-5.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then we'll move on to the US. Pricing includes freight, PDI, and fees. The base model starts at just under $39,500 and the top GT trim with the premium pack just over $49,500. In the US, we're using MSRP. The base model starts at just under $30,000 and the top trim is just under $39,000.
Here's the fuel economy for the 2.5 liter, 9.9 liters per 100 kilometers city, 7.9 on the highway. That's 24 miles per gallon city, 30 on the highway. The CX-5 can tow 2,000 pounds, and the warranty is 3 years with unlimited kilometers in Canada, 3 years and 36,000 miles in the United States. Lightning round, two things we'd like to see improved.
Well, I like that this is bigger and will appeal to more people now.
The ride is more comfortable.
What I'd like to see is maybe a volume knob added, and I don't know.
You get one. You got volume knob. Okay, you do volume knob.
Okay.
If you're not going to give us buttons, give us a lip here to rest your hand on to interface with the tabs that are too small.
Yeah.
There you go, Andrea.
Just something.
I kind of did 1.5.
Yeah, Zach, that's not fair. 1.5. I only got one.
Okay, go for it. A volume knob and?
I'm missing my driver's seat memory buttons.
Okay, that was 2. If you're keeping track. All right, there it is. It's the all-new CX-5. Doesn't matter what we think. What do you guys think of that?
Thanks for watching. And if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next time.